Anachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jagana Jaya Jagana Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Baladeva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So today we're continuing with the lectures from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are going to read from the 5th canto, 5th chapter, verse 33. Just a little bit weird verse. Okay. Tasya haya purisha Surabhi saugandhya vayu Tam desham dasa yojanam Samantat surabhim chakra Tasya haya purisha Surabhi saugandhya vayu Tam desham darshayo janam Samantat surabhim chakara Tasya haya purisha Surabhi saugandhya vayu Tam desham darshayo janam Samantat surabhim chakara Please do some. Tasya haya purisha Surabhi saugandhya vayus Tam desham darshayo janam Samantat surabhim chakaram Tasya haya purisha Surabhi saugandhya vayus Tam desham darshayo janam Samantat surabhim chakara Thank you. Tasya his ha indeed yaha which purisha of the stool yes surabhi by the aroma saugandhya possessing a good fragrance vayuhu the air tam that desham country darsha up to 10 yojanam yojanas 1 yojana equals 8 miles. Samantat, all around. Surabim, aromatic. Chakara, made. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Because Lord Rishabhadev remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him, but no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite the contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. Purport. From this we can certainly assume that Lord Rishabhadev was transcendentally blissful. His stool and urine were so completely different from material stool and urine that they were aromatic. Even in the material world, cow dung is accepted as purified and antiseptic. A person can keep stacks of cow dung in one place, and it will not create a bad odor or to disturb anyone. We can take it for granted that in the spiritual world, stool and urine are also pleasantly scented. Indeed, the entire atmosphere became very pleasant due to Lord Rishabhadeva's stool and urine. So, one more time, the verse. Because Lord Rishabhadev remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him, but no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite the contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 8 miles of countryside with a pleasant fragrance. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you very much for coming to this lecture. So I will speak about the topic. I have also a lecture of Srila Prabhupada that he gave on this verse from Vrindavan, which I will read from a little bit. But I wanted to take this opportunity, since I have this opportunity to give class, and I know that a lot of devotees, they also follow from our congregation online, to also speak about some things that I think are quite important for this community and this congregation. I'm not in a position of a temple president or any managerial position, so I speak this like from the heart of a person who takes care of the deities and tulasis and sometimes devotees and many things in this temple. And I speak also about this out of concern, even though exalted devotees would say that everything is a will of Krishna and that he arranges everything. So Jagannath also arranges everything, but I also think that sometimes we have to do something because we also have to act in this world. And then we offer the results of our actions to Krishna. Because, you cannot function in this world, you cannot even maintain this body without doing some kind of activity. And I hope that this lecture can be an inspiration maybe to people that they come to the temple and that they serve. Because what I have witnessed in the past 2 months, because I was making schedules, that nobody wants to come and serve. I don't mean nobody like generalization, nobody. But like if someone goes for a trip or gets sick, it's very difficult to find a replacement and so on. So I want to invite devotees in our congregation, Swiss congregation, that they come and serve the Lord. I will give also philosophical reasons for it that come from this chapter. It's very actually nice chapter because Lord Rishabhadev, who is actually an incarnation of God, he gives again personal instructions, this time to his sons. But Srila Prabhupada in the purport says that these instructions are not so much for them, because they are perfect as sons of God, and they are perfectly raised and educated by Him as a king and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So actually, it is said that these are instructions for sannyasis, but these are also instructions for everyone, because Bhakti Yoga is actually sannyasa yoga. And sannyasa yoga means that you give everything for Krishna. So that's the whole purpose, what we are doing, whether we are a brahmachari, whether we are a grihastha, or whatever we are. The purpose of all our activities is that we offer them as a yagya, or a sacrifice for Vishnu. So this whole chapter very nicely talks about these things, because Lord Rishabhadev is actually telling us how we should live our life. So these are just some of the instructions I put as my notes that I thought that were very important, and that we can reflect on them. And I will also explain why. So the first thing that he says is that one should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. So these penances and austerities are part of life. You cannot live your life without penances and austerities. Like, even if a child wants to walk, it requires a certain penance or austerity, because it has to try, it has to endeavor. So it is, in a sense, not something that's very pleasant maybe at the beginning, because the child falls and so on. When you go to school, you also have to learn. So this is also a penance and austerity for the mind, where you have to be focused. So whatever you want to accomplish, actually, in the material life, you have to perform some kind of a penance or austerity. The point of Bhakti Yoga is that why would you do it for something that is perishable, like these results for a material body or your family or your nation? All of this is perishable, so do it for Krishna. And if you attain through penance and austerity devotional service, in the end the result of it will be this eternal life. So this is what he's talking about. So sometimes we have a lot of things to do in our life. We have our families, we have our jobs, and that's all like normal. And it can be understandable that it's difficult sometimes to balance everything that we want. Our spiritual life, our family life, our work, and so on. But what I would like to ask for today, once a week, or once in 2 weeks, or once in 3 weeks, or once a month, you come to the temple and you dedicate your time to the deities, to the devotees, to this facility, because this temple is considered to be a Vaikuntha. And maybe something that sometimes for us is very difficult to understand, because it is said in the scriptures that we cannot perceive God by material senses. And that's why, because we cannot do it, because Krishna is so sublime in a way, he comes, so Srila Prabhupada explains this, Ishopanishad explains this, and a lot of other scriptures, that then he comes as Archa Vigraha, so this deity that we have in the temple. So the scriptures also say that there's no difference between the Archa Vigraha deity that we see here on the altar and Krishna in Krishna Loka. There's no difference. We just don't have the ability to see it at the moment, but there is no difference. When you serve the deities, you can see and you can feel the reciprocation. So when you come to the temple, actually you come to a person. So that's something that maybe we can introspect. And then whatever we do in the temple, even if we are not in the temple and we are, I don't know, for example, in December, there is a book marathon, book distribution. For whom are you distributing the books? For Krishna. And Krishna is here in the temple. So you do it for him. And usually, even the Lakshmi that you collect through book distribution, it goes actually to Krishna. So whatever you do, you offer it to Krishna. Even if you go on Harinam, for whom do you do it? You do it for the deity in the temple. So it doesn't matter which kind of service it is, but just that you do something for Krishna. And everyone tries, of course, but we have to try more. Why? Because only by penance and austerity, we can attain the divine position of devotional life. So we have so many examples, like in everyday life, or of people who are very successful, or people who are athletic, who are into sports. And if you even look at the documentaries about their life, you can see that what they performed are very, very difficult penances and austerities. They would wake up at 4, 5 a.m. and so on. So Just our goal is a little bit different. So even though it's hard, and even though sometimes it's difficult to balance our so-called family life and job with the temple, still it's better that we sacrifice something, that we do the penance, because definitely Krishna will help, and he will make an arrangement by which we can even serve him more. And I can say this because I have that kind of an experience in my life, that Krishna really helps. Like if you have a desire in your heart that, yes, I want to come and I want to serve the devotees and I want to serve Krishna, and if you endeavor in that way, and it has to be hard, because everything that you gain easily is quite cheap, but what you gain in a difficult way, that has some value. And that's the way it is. That's how this material world functions. So even if you believe, I don't know, in this new age stuff that say that if you desire something and you imagine it in your mind and then like it will manifest, still you have to do something about it. And all these people, they didn't sit in one place and I don't know, imagine things. They did something with the certain frame in their mind, and then they accomplished. So I just wanted to say that the laws of this material world, they function in this way. You just have to do it. So human life means voluntarily practicing suffering for the advancement of spiritual life. So in any case, you will suffer in this world because you have this body. So maybe everything is nice, but one day you will get sick, you will get old, you will have some problems. Everyone has problems. But this is what spiritual life wants, actually what Krishna wants from us, is this voluntary part. That we decide, yes, I will do it. Nobody forces me. There are no gunas of material nature that force me to suffer. It's something that I do out of love, like I want to do it. And even if we don't have love at the beginning, we still try, and this love will develop in our heart. So that's why it's very important that devotional service as such, that everyone who comes in this temple, that they come on a voluntary basis. But you can come only on a voluntary basis if you're inspired. So this is a request like that, okay, maybe you don't have inspiration, but try to find people whom you find inspiring, but then still come into this community, into this temple and serve, because we have only 2 temples. Langenthal is quite far away, and it's not so approachable maybe for some devotees. Zurich was always like a center, at least in the last, as I know, 20 or 30 years, a center of where everything happened, and is still going on. And there were, of course, a lot of other projects in Switzerland, but as I understood, and I'm not living here so long, so I might be wrong, but they are all gone in a way. So I'm just like, this is my fear that even this program, this temple will, in a way, not function if there are no devotees here. So in that sense, I really wish that if we have to voluntarily practice suffering, that we do it for Krishna, and that we come to the temple and do some service. So again, Srila Prabhupada explains how human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penances in order to attain divine life. After attaining divine life, one can enjoy happiness eternally. And that doesn't also mean that you have to die and leave this body to have this divine life. You can have divine life just as you are now, because it's all about the internal attitude, what we carry internally that actually can validate whether we have happiness or not. And this is something that Lord Rishabhadev is also teaching us. So he gives the instructions to his sons, and then he leaves his position as a king, his family, and then he acts like a madman, and he goes on the pilgrimage around holy places where people treat him very, very badly. And this is also something like that we can learn from. So he is in the world. He's, of course, transcendental, but he's giving an example, because God always gives an example. For everything that he wants from us, he shows how we should do it. So that doesn't mean that we should be like mad people and go around the world like that, but he shows something else, that even though he acts like this, and he receives like very bad behavior from people that he meets. They spit on him, they hit him with stones, they chastise him, they offend him, and so on. But he doesn't mind. So in a sense, we can see that Lord Rishabhadeva is here teaching us how to exercise tolerance in this world. Because even if you come to this temple, you will, I don't know, maybe be offended by someone. You won't like someone. Someone will annoy you. But also if you go to work, that will happen. So this is a material world that is still under the influence of the gunas of material nature. And Srila Prabhupada many times said that whoever comes to this temple is a patient, and he is trying to recover from this material contamination. So therefore, don't expect from people to be perfect. That's also utopian in a way. We should not do that. We should try to help others to that they advance in Krishna consciousness. And also we should try to learn how to associate in a Krishna conscious way. To associate in a Krishna conscious way means that we sing the Maha Mantra together, we talk about Krishna together. Of course, there are also 6 exchanges between the devotees that they do, by which they develop love between each other, and that is the exchange of gifts. You give a gift, you receive a gift, you offer prasadam to a person, you receive prasadam to a person, and you open your mind and you inquire submissively from the person, and you also receive some instructions and so on. So this is how we associate. There is nothing else. Everything else is sense gratification. And sometimes we come to the temple wanting this sense gratification. Why? Because we got used to it. It's like part of our life. But no, we should associate to purify ourselves. And all these other things, if we get along, that's great. If we sometimes don't get along, we should tolerate. And also like encourage others to, because Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga changes people. And I also saw that. Like if someone comes into the process and starts to chant and starts to serve the Lord, his qualities will change. So you just also have to be patient with others and with yourself. So why am I saying all this? Because if you ever experienced any unpleasant things happening from other people who you encountered in the temple maybe, please try to exercise tolerance and just come and serve. And you will see that in time the person will transform, you will also transform, and maybe, you can be friends, and if not, at least you can associate in a Krishna conscious way, which is good for everyone. So, what Srila Prabhupada also teaches us, and Lord Rishabhadev, is that rendering service to a highly advanced spiritual personalities, Mahatmas, is what will help us. And sometimes we don't know who is a Mahatma. It can be anyone, actually, not just a spiritual master or someone who is very senior. So it's always good to serve the devotees, and to be in this humble position. And that's how we will actually gain good qualities. It is said that if we serve a person, we gain the good qualities of a person. And if we become angry at the person, we gain the bad qualities of the person. So you should... it's hard, but that's what we should do. We should try to practice this. This is knowledge, actually. I don't have the Bhagavad Gita now, but maybe... I think it's chapter 8, verse 13, where Krishna says, what is knowledge? But I'm not sure. Or maybe it's not that verse. What Krishna calls knowledge. But maybe. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see if that is so. So knowledge is not all the books that I read, or the verses that I know how to quote. No, it's not here. I don't know where it is. But so not the verses that I know how to quote or things like that. I think the first things that he lists as knowledge is tolerance, humility, and then determination, and so on. So actually, if you have developed these qualities, you have knowledge. If you didn't, you don't have knowledge. So you can read, I don't know how many Srimad Bhagavatas, Chaitanya Charitamrita, of course good because you associate with Krishna, but just because you know the content of the book, but you didn't develop these things in your life, doesn't mean that you have knowledge. So these are the things that we really have to think about them, because if we want to advance in spiritual life, this is what we have to do. So... And a householder, yeah. So a householder should lead such a life that he gets the full opportunity to hear and chant. Yeah. So what we have to do is, Krishna says, place your faith and love in me. Anyway, he's anyway in every one of us as Paramatma in our heart. And even if we, like, for example, offer obeisances to one another, we are offering it actually to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in the heart of the devotee. So because the body, this yantra that we have at the moment, is a temple of God. So if we see this, if we see everyone and everything like this, it will be very easier for now. It would be easier for us to practice spiritual life. So he also says that we should detest sense gratification, in the sense that we should be more eager to hear about him than to, satisfy the bodily needs. We should tolerate the duality of pleasure and pain. And we should look upon everyone equally on the spiritual platform. We should give up enmity and subdue anger and lamentation. And what he also says is that we should not become attached to the process of liberation itself, because we come here and then we want to become pure devotees and we want to stop suffering and so on. No, that's not the way it goes. Even the gopis, they suffer and they are the most exalted devotees. So this suffering has a purpose, and in spiritual life, suffering brings hankering for Krishna, and that's what he wants. So not wanting liberation means that I only want to please Krishna and nothing else. And nothing else matters. That's why Srila Prabhupada would say, and quote some of the great acharyas, that would say, it doesn't matter whether I go to hell or heaven, just as long as I serve you. So that means that we don't care about liberation. And even not caring, we should, that's what Srila Prabhupada said, we should want to go back to Godhead, but actually we should not want to go back to Godhead. We should want to serve Krishna, just have pure devotional service, and whatever gives him pleasure, we will do. If it means that we will stay, in this material universe and be born for 5 more times, we will do it because it pleases Krishna. And that's why it is said that when one is actually engaged in devotional service, he should not bother seeking out knowledge. This refers to the jnanis, because they are the ones who want to see what is actually spiritual, what is not, who is God, what is I, and so on. And they, by philosophical speculation, then conclude that God is energy, and then they want to merge into it, because they're attached to this kind of knowledge. But devotional life means that I don't even want knowledge. And if you think about it, that's so true, because on the highest platforms of devotional service, in the highest realms of the spiritual world, in Krishna Loka, they don't have knowledge about who is Krishna and who is God. They just think of Krishna as their friend, as their child, as their lover. So they pray to Vishnu for the protection of Krishna. So these are also some things that we should introspect and think, what do we actually want in the spiritual life? Yeah. So this is my a little request from someone who is quite insignificant, but hopes to inspire devotees, that since this is the purpose of our life, and that's why we are here, that's why we want to get initiated, that's why we want to follow the orders of the spiritual master, because we want pure devotional service, we want to purify our hearts. And we know that International Society of Krishna Consciousness is an institution. It's not perfect because it's an institution. But still, Srila Prabhupada, he formed this institution because he wanted to give the world, actually everyone, association of Krishna's devotees. So that's also the reason why we should come to the temple and serve, because other people come here and we should give them our association and help them also advance in their spiritual life. So there are so many reasons why to come to the temple and why to stop thinking about ourselves actually, because by not coming to the temple, sometimes we are just engrossed in our mind and what we think, and how we are hurt or how we are frustrated with this or with that, but that's not the purpose of it. We should really try to practice this spiritual life, and this temple is a platform for practicing this spiritual life. And that's how it is here in Switzerland. In Switzerland, you don't have home sanghas, you have the temple. Sometimes you have home sanghas, like maybe once a month. But there has to be a certain spiritual activity, and this is what the temple gives it. And it's not only about Sundays. Of course, everyone's free on the weekend. But every minute of every day, because, sometimes we can talk about old school, new school of things that are happening in Krishna consciousness, like, before it was like this and so on. But there were some things that were really good before, like, for example, in the 90s, people would work. They would work until 5, 6, and they would go to it doesn't have to be a temple, some place where someone was giving a lecture at 7 p.m. and they would listen about Krishna. There was a Bhagavad Gita lecture at 7. I mean, we still have it, but not so many people come. But they should come. Like at 7 p.m., why don't you come after work and listen about Krishna? You can also listen online now. But still, it's so impersonal. I have to say this. It's impersonal to do things online. We should come together and relish the transcendental sound together. And of course it's helpful, like when it was COVID, it was great to have online things. But don't be lazy. Just please come. And we should really, really associate together. And it's wonderful. And also to go with Ekachakra Prabhu to Harinams, which we also sometimes neglect very much. And he really tries to inspire devotees to come and to sing. And it's also very important. And it's also like we are practicing compassion by this, by going out, and also subduing the ego, who is sometimes ashamed to go out on the street and sing here in this robes which are weird, because some people think like that. But just do it, practice this compassion, this not thinking about yourself so much. Think about others, why they need, how they feel, and that's how you. It is said, like Madhavananda Prabhu says it very nicely, that community is built on Krishna Katha, nothing else. Like if we chant and hear about Krishna and we serve together, that's how we build a community. There's no other way. So Madhavananda Prabhu, but he probably said it based on other sources, but I don't know them at the moment. Yeah, so this is what I really wanted people to think about and to come, and also it means a lot when someone comes once a week to the temple to do something. It really means a lot. And if you are steady in this once a week or once in 2 weeks, it's perfect. And you will get so much blessings from Krishna. And also if you want to develop a personal relationship with Krishna, you have to serve him, and then you will see how he reciprocates with you and you will be happy. So in these penances and austerities that you do, the result is happiness. But you have to do it, and you have to also be patient, because the result will not come immediately. So this is something that if we read the instructions and the teachings of Lord Rishabhadev, we can understand that it's for us, and we should apply them in our life, and really apply them in the platform that is meant for it. And this is this temple in Switzerland at the moment, because there are no other very strong programs here. So please, if we can maintain this one in a very good way, with a good standard, with a good attitude, and with a loving community, which this community is, but it just needs more inspiration for people to come. And some people also live far away. And I also live far away. I live in Winterthur. It's 25 kilometers from here. And I wake up in the morning at 3:30 and I come with my husband to the temple 3 times a week, and I dress the deities. So, and it's not such a big deal. Actually, sometimes you even wake up by yourself because, I don't know, Paramatma wakes you up. And you feel good. And it's just something that is needed. And after a while, at the beginning it's hard, but then after a while it becomes so, you become happy because you do this, and you can see the reciprocation from the deities also. So this is my request. And now, just to say something about this verse, which is quite funny actually, because I found it funny from Prabhupada, how he actually presented it. So, as we said, Lord Rishabhadev, he gave instructions to his sons, and then he left his post as a king, his family life and everything, and he went around the world like a madman, right? Yeah, he was. He looked like he was blind, deaf, and dumb. He was like an avaduta. And I don't think he even bathed or something. And he passed stool and urine wherever he went and so on. But the difference is that no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. And I like what Srila Prabhupada said. So he said, so here is an incarnation of God, Rishabhadev. Now there are so many rascal incarnations. Is it possible to pass stool and make it surabi, which means fragrant? Is it possible? So you can ask this rascal incarnation that pass your stool here. Let us see first of all, then we shall accept you. So that's quite like for example, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna manifested his universal form. So that's also a test for someone who claims that he's an incarnation of God or that he's a Krishna. That you say, okay, if you claim this, then manifest your this Virat Purusha form of many heads, arms, legs, and so on. But also what you can do, I mean, it's disgusting when you think about it, but if you want to check if someone is God, you can tell him to pass his stool and then see whether the odor is pleasant or not. And but this also does not apply only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but there were some pure devotees who also had the same symptoms when they passed stool or urine. But that's something that is on the transcendental platform, definitely. So the point is that whatever the Supreme Personality of Godhead does, whatever God does, it's always pleasant. So even when he passes stool and urine, it's pleasant for everyone. So that's God. And one more thing that is important, that if these are the symptoms, that means that Lord Rishabhadev, he didn't have a material body. That means that he had Sachitananda Vigraha body, which means the body full of knowledge, eternity and bliss. And he was not born from a womb. That's what Srila Prabhupada further on explains in this chapter. He also gives a criticism to people who claim that they can become God. He says that therefore they consider, so these people who think that way, they consider that Krishna's body and my body is the same. If he has become God, so why shall I not become God? But that is not possible. His body is transcendental. Your body is not transcendental. Your body is a rotten earth, water, fire, panchabhautika. You cannot compare with that. In this way, as it is stated in Brahma Samhita, his body is completely different from our body. Anganiyasya sankalendriya vrittimanti. We sing that every morning. His body is so made that he can do everything and anything by any part of his body. So therefore, he is not born from yoni, which means uterus, but every one of us is, and we are therefore called sarva yoni, so born from the uterus of a mother. Yeah. And actually, the one who understands Krishna in this way, he is the only one who can go back home, back to Godhead, because it is said that we have to understand the nature of his activities, the nature of his birth, the nature of his body and everything. And then Srila Prabhupada in this lecture, he says that the only way we can understand Krishna is by our tongue. If we engage our tongue in his service, which means that if we chant the holy name of the Lord, and if we eat prasadam. And that's also like the way we can control our senses is if we control the tongue, then automatically we control the belly and the genitals. And that is done through chanting the Maha Mantra and eating Krishna prasadam. So here in this lecture, that is what Srila Prabhupada talks about in this connection. So we have Lord Rishabhadev who manifests these symptoms Why? Because he has a transcendental body. And how can we, who are now sadhakas practicing spiritual life, how can we understand his spiritual body? How can we one day conceive it? Is by chanting the Mahamantra. So that's why Lord Chaitanya came in this age of Kali to give us the easiest process because we can't do more. In Srimad Bhagavatam is this described how people in this age, they have short lives and they're constantly they're lazy, they're constantly disturbed, they don't have such high intelligence to remember things and so on. So because of all these symptoms, what we were given was Srimad Bhagavatam that we read every day, because the sages of Naimisharanya, they asked Sutta Goswami to give them the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. And the essence of all the Vedic scriptures in Srimad Bhagavatam. And also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to give us the easiest process of chanting the Mahamantra, because we cannot perform perfect yagyas or fire sacrifices. We cannot even perfectly worship the deities because we constantly make offenses. And we can definitely not focusedly meditate on the form of God, because there are so many disturbances, and especially disturbance that comes from ourselves, which is our mind, who is constantly running here and there. So what we can do is chant, and that's all. And actually we are quite helpless, and we depend on mercy. So what we can do is, again, come to this temple, serve, associate with devotees in a proper way, chant the holy names of the Lord, and pray for mercy. And that's how we will execute the austerities and penances that will enable us to perform pure devotional service, which will give us divine life, and then ultimately happiness. So that's all I wanted to say for today, and I hope that the online audience will feel inspired to come because it's meant a lot for them. And if you have any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to say or ask. Okay, I can repeat in the microphone if someone wants to. But if you want to comment, you can also comment, yes.
Thank you very much for nice lecture, for your sharing, and also the generalizations. Thank you for your dedication. I can feel that you're really trying your best and put to this responsibility, and it's not so easy to inspire others. And
no.
I enjoy this, and very inspiring. I also found this interesting that the smell was going for 80 miles. This is we live in the middle of this 25 kilometers. It is 80 miles is unimaginable. 80 miles not possible. We don't have this any for 2 miles.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 1 kilometer what is 80 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remembered now when you said this, how also Putana, when she died, but she was killed by Krishna, so automatically she got purified. Her body also smelled pleasantly when she died. So that's also quite interesting. That maybe this is the characteristic of a spiritual body, of a spiritual body or a purified body like Krishna's. That even though she just got purified, and even she smelled nicely. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so about service to deities,
Mm.
is that there is 5 main angas of bhakti, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
One of the most important ways to develop our bhakti.
Mm.
Also one of the points. And also I'm studying now nectar of instruction, but the Shastra, there's also nice verses that explain about Utsaha Vishya Varya, you have to be enthusiastic.
Yeah.
To serve, to come to temples, you need some enthusiasm, even if you don't have. It's recommended by acharyas that you have to act enthusiastically and
Yes.
endeavor with confidence and be patient. You also mentioned all these points. Yeah, it's not said that you have to be like, making every stone just do because you have to do. If you actually it's mentioned also there about the mantra when you do because you have to do. I mean, like sometimes you have to do some our duties,
Yeah.
but also if you do without desire to make spiritual progress, it becomes like a mantra.
Yeah.
And he was also sharing about the devotees have to come to temple and do service and so on. Yeah, it's like very important. Also,
Yeah.
Prabhupada mentions there that I also got inspiration that if you put some budget towards Bhakta Sanivasa, it says that you have to be in association with devotees. You have to.
Yeah.
It's very important because if there is also mentioned in these verses that you have to avoid association with non-devotees. And actually, I think nowadays it's also some why devotees become big because they associate with non-devotees.
Yeah. I mean, in Bhakti Loka is described what is considered association and what's not. So it's like association means that you give your heart to a person. That means that you can actually, I mean, you can go to work and you perform things, even with your family members who might not be devotees, you show them love, but you show them love out of duty. That's how it's described. But your heart, like your feelings, like your mind, you open to like devotees. But sometimes I have a feeling that because I also sometimes get angry and frustrated and think like, what am I doing here? Why am I... Like I had better experiences, for example, before Krishna consciousness with some people and so on. Yeah, but as I said, it's we can always find someone with whom we can associate here. That's one thing in the sense of intimacy. But also we have to learn how to associate with devotees. Because we come here with some expectations that we had from before, which is normal, like we want friendships. But what is a real friendship, you know? The real friend is the one who helps you in Krishna consciousness, actually. So, and as I said, to associate with devotees also means that we hear Krishna Katha, we sing together, we serve together. That's how you actually develop a relationship. Because when you go to work, you do something together, like, I don't know, I will just give my example. I was working at the law office and I went there and I was not friends with everyone in the law office, but we had tasks that we do. But with some people I would get along, you know. And sometimes you have to also do it here in the same way. With some people you can be friends because you have how you say the same yes, thank you, mindset, or you have some things in common, and with these people it's easier to make friends. But that doesn't mean that you have to learn how to associate with the other people as well, and how to also serve them, and how to be also loving towards them. And that's what my spiritual master teaches me, that because he's unbelievable that he can be so respectful, attentive, mindful of absolutely everyone, like even though those who are very close to him, those who are not very close to him. Of course, he's a spiritual master, so he has this role, but nevertheless, it's a very good example, like how to. And there are, of course, other devotees who also have this wonderful quality. But like, you know, this association means the association with the transcendental silent vibration, because it will purify us in a way. And that's actually, we also have this human side, of course, but if we go into what we think is a human side too much, like, I don't know, we go for ice creams, then we chit chat, we go for movies, we go for this and that. That's not the basis of the friendship. The basis of the friendship is what it's really what Rupa Goswami describes in the Nectar of Instructions, that you give gifts, you receive gifts, it's exchange of love, you give prasadam, because it's very nice, like, to welcome someone and then offer him with food and so on, and this person does to you, and then this to you, and then you exchange, and this opening of the mind, but opening of the mind into something deeper, you know, that if I'm practicing this path of bhakti, then I want to go deeper, but with you, with whom I associate. Like, let's explore Krishna, let's do the service. I don't know, there's a Govardhan festival, let's do something special for the Govardhan festival. I'm just trying to give some small examples. These are my examples, but some people maybe they have different examples of how we can better associate with each other and be more loving and give time to each other. I think that's like the most difficult part today, to give time to other people, because we never have time. We're always so busy, 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 but actually we should give time to each other. And that's how we develop like these deep connections and so on. Did you want to say something more?
I just wanted to add that we have to also do something, some events which help to us to have this association based on the holy name or the Shastra, like, to do kirtan together. And I mean, like, it's good when this kirtan organized in a way that some friends come, like, with maybe more or less have relationship or something common. But because formal kirtan is also nice, but sometimes if you don't go into a relationship, if you like, after this kirtan you just go everyone somewhere, and it's usually like not very inspirational. I mean, this association should be more deeper in a way that, organize different things. Like I know with many others, there's kirtans, just somebody invite each other and let's go, because it helps to unite around the holy name.
Yeah.
Do some namakartas. Because sometimes like Sunday program, it's like it's also like it's preaching program, but there is not so much place for different relationships.
Yes, I agree.
Krishna Bhakti morning program, it's also quite nice for congregation, because I know in different temples they even organize sometimes like Sunday program for everyone. I mean, like Sunday morning program for congregation. Some people come from outside for Mangalarati or Kukanot for Guru Puja, and they sing together, organize kirtan, and then discuss Shastra, and then spend time together. I mean, because we usually not in the level like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nanda, who just come together, starts to speak about Krishna all the time.
Yes, of course.
We have to do some special things like lecture or some Namakarta that's help to us unite.
Yeah.
And then we have also just relationship, not just speak about life.
Yeah. I mean, people read together also. They meet and they read like, I don't know, Srimad Bhagavatam together or something. And of course, you can do other stuff, but the point is that this other stuff is not the basis of your friendship. the Krishna consciousness part should be and there are so many like very beautiful like relationships. Like for example, I like a relationship between Kastuba Prabhu and Raghunath Prabhu, because they were brahmacharis together, so they served a lot. And now they even don't live in the same place, but every day they run this podcast together, but every day they speak to each other about Krishna, So I really, and you can hear them, like when you listen to their podcast, you can see how, you can hear how deep they go, and how they know each other also. So I think that's beautiful, and if we can have at least one or two people like that, I think everyone would be happy. I was talking about. I'm sorry, please don't mind me, because I wanted to invite people to do service more in the temple. So I also talked about this, and how sometimes like people are frustrated and they don't come for a certain reason. And I wanted to inspire people to come anyway. And so the point is that even if we have this one or two persons with whom we really have this like deep connection, just grab them and come and serve to the temple like together. Because that's what will do everyone good, and also this, we need community to grow. Not only community, I mean the community in the sense of like their families, they have kids. You need a community to raise your kid also. So that's why it's so important to raise communities, to find time for each other, to, as you said, have these namahatas. Or whatever, it doesn't have to be called namahata. It can be, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else would like to say something or comment? It's okay.
Yes, Loka, Pavani, Devi, Dasi. Thank you for your wonderful lecture, very
Thank you.
Full of knowledge, obviously. How did it start that you decided to come weekly to serve the deities? How did that come about? And how did you decide, okay, I'm going to do this on a regular basis? Can you repeat the question?
Yes. So how did it come for me to come and serve the deities on a regular basis in the temple? Well, I mean, I started serving the deities when I got second initiation, but I was coming to the temple before I got my second initiation. And why? Because, but I'm, okay, every one of us is different. I had association of devotees at the beginning of my spiritual life, which they were a little bit fanatical. Some would call it like that. I mean, I was working at the court, and after that I would go on the book distribution, and I would always serve, like every day. And every day we would discuss Krishna consciousness. And yes, I would wake up before going to work. I would chant all my 16 rounds. So even before that, I wanted spiritual life. And then when I stopped working and when I came to Switzerland, I saw this as an arrangement of Krishna where I can dedicate myself to service more. And that's what I did. I, from the beginning, came to the temple, at least to clean the temple room. I would come, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week, even more. And I had some other services, but I would always come, because if I don't work, it's said that the unengaged mind is a devil's workshop also. So it's better to be engaged in something. I'm just saying, like, if you read the scriptures, you can understand what you have to do, and you do it. And sometimes it's hard. And also I didn't have association here when I came. It was full of brahmacharis, as I remember, and nobody was speaking to me. So I was thinking, like, why should I come here? And in 2016, I came here for the first time in the temple. So maybe someone else who would come here and saw that nobody was speaking to them. Really, I mean, I don't say this as a critic, I just say it as my experience. Nobody was speaking to me, and then why would I come somewhere where no one speaks to me? But I didn't come because of these people. I came for myself and for Krishna, because I was searching for Krishna and I wanted to understand, because I had many questions. And I hoped that in time I will have some association and so on. And I didn't. And then I went in 2018 for the first time in Radhadesh, and there I discovered something that inspired me very much. People actually, like a beautiful community, people wanted to know about each other, maybe sometimes too much, but for example here maybe it would be too much because they ask too many questions and want to know everything about you. But it was so nice, and everyone was so warm, and like all these senior devotees, because some of 2 or 3 of them are Prabhupada's disciples, and then some senior ones as well, they all come to Mangalarati. And Mangalarati is full of devotees, and it's very inspiring, and all of them are in the classes in the morning, and they like to discuss, and they take notes, and the whole community is exchanging in giving classes, and then, you know, they read together. But it's different because they live in a village, so they are close to each other. But still, it doesn't matter. I mean, here we can also meet. They learn Bhakti Shastri together, Bhakti Vibhava together. They do this theater together, and so on. And everyone, and so this association on the basis of Krishna consciousness, you can feel that there. Of course, no community is perfect, but I think that that's something that they have, like that they associate with Krishna in the center, and it's very nice to see from like babies to very old people that they are all together. Like the children, they have their own community, also trying to build them up. The older people also have a place where they can die. That's why you need a community. Not all of us will go to Vrindavan and die in Vrindavan or Mayapur, or people. They will die here in the places where they did worship. And these people from this community have to help them to pass away, to be with them, to chant for them, and things like that, which this community of course has as well, but just to make it like more intimate, more stronger, and so on. So and there are like devotees there who live, and they say that I want to die in Radhadesh, because they know that they will be taken care of there, and they can of course have darshan of the deities and so on. So these things are quite. I didn't answer actually why I come. I come because I have this need. It's the need of my soul, and sometimes I get frustrated, and I think that something. Like for example, I was frustrated in the last month, and I was thinking like to go back to work, because I was thinking like, why am I doing all these things, like for whom and for what? And then I heard, and this is quite personal, I heard a new CD from Janavi Harrison. It's not a promotion of her CD, but it's really beautiful. And she wrote like this prayer, I Trust You is called. And she's singing to Krishna. Like, I trust you, and I want to love all the things that you love, and I can see your arms, I can see you everywhere, and I can see how you are, I don't know, manifesting in my life, and I can see this exchange of love that you have between. And every time I hear that song, I start crying. So anyway, so you have this song, and you have this song which is called Sweet Surrender. And and then I listened to this song, and it really resonated with me. And then I realized that I cannot go back to that life, because that life is over. And it should be over for everyone. Of course, if you are a grihasta, you have to work and so on. But you have to know where is your heart, and then come to the platform. Like, as I said, we have to realize that Archa Vigraha is a person, is non-different from Krishna in the spiritual world. And whatever service you do it for him, actually. And that's because we don't see Krishna with our material senses. He was so kind to come in the form of the deity. So, as I said, even if you go on Sankirtan book distribution, you are doing it for Krishna, who is manifest here in the temple. And this is something that you have to really realize, and then come here and serve, and be inspired to serve no matter what happens. And as Lord Rishabhadev said, the duty of a person who has the duty of human life is to voluntarily execute penances and austerities for the pleasure of Krishna. So that's what we do. And if you don't do it here, you will have to do it outside. So that's the whole point. You cannot avoid it. You will do it, but you will so much suffer outside, and here you can have happiness. So that's all. I'm going to stop here because of the time. But I thank you very much for your attention, and I hope we can serve together more, and be a community, help Damodar Prasad Prabhu. Because I know that you say Krishna will arrange something, but but maybe this awakening in the hearts of others, inspiration to come and help you with the temple. It's not about like, this is the last thing I will say, it's not even about positions or anything. Like Damodar Prasad Prabhu, you have a position now of the temple president, but that means that you have to serve the most. So, and I think we should serve you, that you serve others as well. And as I said, like, this temple is very important for the Swiss community. Of course, we have Langenthal, but this is the center in the whole Switzerland, and so it's important, and we should give like support to each other, and especially to those who serve the most. So that's all. Hare Krishna.
dark stuff